Hey guys, special morning post here. Usually what I do is when I come home at the end of the day after work, I'll try to put a few minutes into doing something for the Westmount Facebook page. Today is different. I just got up. It's very early. But I wanted to say a few things while the thoughts are still fresh in my mind. Yesterday when I was speaking to Mr. Sutherland online, he brought me aware of the news that Sharon Ethier, Mrs. Ethier, had passed away a few years ago. This made me pause. More than it made me pause, it made me shed a few tears. In fact, not just a few. I didn't sleep so well last night, and hearing the news of her passing evokes vivid memories of grade 3 for me. I wanted to talk a little bit about grade 3, and I wanted to talk about Mrs. Ethier. To her husband, Ron, on behalf of the Westmount Group and on behalf of myself, I wanted to extend our sincerest and most heartfelt condolences, and I'm sorry that they come so late in time, but I hope you'll accept them nonetheless. When I spoke to Mr. Crawford yesterday, he mentioned that she didn't have any children, because I wanted to send this video to maybe her children so they could know the impact their mother had on all of us, on her students. And he mentioned that she didn't have any children. But then I thought about it for a minute, and I realized that she had thousands of children. And I was fortunate enough to be one of them. And that brings me to my first point about her, is that she had this motherly, and not all female teachers did, she had this wonderful, patient, kind, nurturing quality that was very noticeable, even as a 7 or 8-year-old. Maybe I couldn't articulate it back then, but I certainly felt it, and it had a great impact on me. Grade 3 was an amazing year. I remember being a little bit trepidatious and a little bit nervous. Even though I'd been at Westmount for 3 years, every time you go into a new grade, you're nervous. You don't know what to expect. You don't know who your teacher's going to be. You don't know who the other students are going to be, if you're going to get along. And all of these concerns were quelled very quickly. Now, about Mrs. Ethier, I want to speak about her because, she had a great impact on me. And when I look back, in my mind's eye, there's a specific moment that I remember very, 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 very clearly. I'd like to talk about it now. We were doing arts and crafts. And we had the paints out. We were painting the water paints. And I was getting very frustrated. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do what I wanted to do. And she saw me getting frustrated, and she came and she sat down on the small chair next to me. She brought herself down to my level, which I remember clearly. It wasn't easy for her to sit on a child's chair, but she did. And she said, "Eden, don't lose your patience here." She said, "Close your eyes," and I did. And she said, imagine what you love the most. She said, what do you love the most? And I said, Westmount. And she said, think about that image and then paint Westmount. And so I thought about it, and then I painted the facade of the school, the front of the school with the double stairs. And it turned out really well. And she got a frame, and she framed it, and she went and put it in the library. And I felt pretty, as a 7-year-old or 8-year-old, I felt pretty good about this. I remember feeling great about this. And, this is decades before everybody's talking about The Secret and the laws of attraction. And she taught me about, the law of attraction. And because what I learned in that moment was that if you close your eyes and visualize what it is you truly love, then it will come to be tangible. It will come to reality. If if you visualize it strong enough, and if you concentrate hard enough, that this image will come to be, right? And so it was an amazing turning point in my life creatively. It created a sense of confidence, right? And from then on, I endeavored, I explored almost every art form there is, and I still painting and writing comedy and performing comedy and doing improv and writing poems, and it just it ignited my passion for artistic expression from that moment on. Sometimes we have to travel back a long distance to find the root of our inspiration. And ma'am, you were the catalyst to my creative and artistic achievements. And I do believe Mrs. Ethier can hear this now. So the best I can say to you, Mrs. Ethier, is thank you. Thank you very much.